Why was that cleaner than 160? Make that make sense. Also, I'm using the ghost mute, which is just using the side of the thumb to try and mute. Also, I wanted to point out too, I never put this in the video earlier, but I don't have a neck wrap on my guitar on purpose. I don't have a big sock or t-shirt or something around to try and mute the notes. So if it's not clean, it's not clean. I'm not gonna bring a huge, a towel on stage, basically, if I'm gonna play this live ever. A lot of players, whether or not it's not illegal, but a lot of players look down on the whole neck wrap thing. So if you actually want to be clean for real, I'm playing at 170 16th notes, pretty clean, considering this is all progress from one day. So today we're going to be going over one of the best speed building exercises that I've ever used. This helped me, someone who is not the best alternate picker, or at least I wasn't before this, go from around 70 BPM at 16th notes, which is very slow, all the way to 180 BPM 16th notes and clean as well, which for me is kind of wild. I will say for a very long time I was good with legato and I was decent at economy picking, but alternate picking was not very strong for me. And if you're someone who's trying to build that up, this will work. I promise this will work. So we have a couple things that we absolutely need to get started. First things first, this is non-negotiable because we're gonna be treating this like a workout. You need to have a stopwatch or use your phone just like I am. You can use an app on your computer, but the phone works just fine. So we're gonna use a stopwatch. Also, optional I would say, but something to drink. Water, pre-workout, whatever you want. We're gonna be approaching this exercise like it's a real exercise. Instead of treating it like a music drill or whatever you want to call it, instead we're treating it like an actual gym or fitness workout. So we're going to be playing for a minute, then taking a break. And as we increase the tempo, we're going to have shorter bursts of energy. So rather than playing for a minute, because it's going to be quite long once we get to the higher BPMs, it's around 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and we're going to take our breaks accordingly. So we're gonna be starting off here. I have my Pliny X plugin down in the corner here, but I'm mostly using it for the metronome. We're starting very, very slow here, and I'm gonna try my best to do this all in one take. So if you see mistakes, it is what it is. It's called practice for a reason. It's not gonna be perfect until we practice. So we're gonna be jumping in here. I'm gonna be playing on the 8th fret as well too. Major scale. This is just personal opinion, or personal preference I should say. You can use whatever scale you like, whatever you're most comfortable with. If you want to go pentatonic scale, minor scale, harmonic minor scale, whatever you want. I'm just choosing the major scale, 3 notes per string as well. And we're gonna be jumping in here. 16th notes at 50 BPM, quite slow. So it's gonna feel, it's gonna feel a little bit wild, but this is how we're gonna warm up. Also, lastly, just very quickly, I'm doing this from the position of not warming up first. This is super important because a lot of players feel like I have to warm up to practice, which you should. I'm not saying don't warm up, but this can also be part of it as well too. So this can get you warmed up for your full practice, or this can also just be your speed training for the day. So we're gonna spend about 10 to maybe 12 minutes working on this, and let's just jump into it. So I'm gonna start the stopwatch right here. Stopwatch started. Metronome, guitar, headphones, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. About 15 seconds left. Maybe one more rep. So that is going to be the pre-warm up to the warm up, if I can say that. And as we go to the next set, we're gonna take a 1 minute break here. We're going to increase our BPM as well. So, gonna try and keep this authentic for you guys, keep it raw so you can really see what a training session really looks like with the mistakes, with the flaws, and all the other good stuff. And it's super important to actually take your breaks. If you're someone who tries to rush through this is where you get very sloppy. It's been about 30 seconds, and when you time your rests like this, it feels like forever, but that's a good thing. Take that time, let your brain rest, let it recover, then jump back in. Just like a real workout. So on the 2-minute mark, which is in about 10 seconds here. Feels so slow, my God. All right, here we go. It's about 35 seconds. Ten seconds. All right, that's the 3-minute mark. We're gonna take another break. And something I wanna point out as well too. As I'm going through this, I wanna try and stay as relaxed as possible. I don't wanna lift my fingers way off, but also I'm trying to play properly with my picking hand. So I have my pinky anchored down here. I don't have my fingers curled, that's just personal. And I'm also trying to ghost mute all of the notes with my thumb as well. If you don't know what that is, I made a video on it a little while ago. I can link that somewhere, I'll put it in the description. And that's how I'm trying to keep the tone as clean as possible so it doesn't get I'm not getting a bunch of harmonics. I'm playing around the 12th fret on purpose, so if I'm not clean, you will definitely hear it. And I'm sure we're gonna run into that problem as we get faster here. So right here, it's been about 44 seconds. Also gotta increase the tempo so I'm not trolling. Here, I'm gonna try and jump up a little further. I might be making a mistake here trying, but we'll see. We're gonna go 80. Not too crazy yet. Once we get to about 100 and above, we're gonna have shorter bursts. Okay, here we go. "20 seconds left. That's a minute right there, but I'm still gonna finish it. All right, so now, we're still not going crazy fast. We're gonna go a little bit quicker. Gonna get a drink as well too. And as we're going to increase now, I'm probably going to do shorter bursts, so probably like 30 seconds, maybe 25 seconds. Once again, trying to really take advantage of the rest time. Let's go to 100. We're gonna talk a little bit about technique as far as the outside picking after this set as well too, because there's something I really wanna preface that's helped me a ton with the string transitions that a lot of players don't really talk about. But let's get into this here. 3 seconds. Okay, that was 30 seconds right there. So what I wanted to talk about, we're gonna do a 1.5-minute break as well too. So what I wanted to talk about as far as the outside picking, I could turn this off for a second. For the outside picking, one of the reasons why it feels so strange or so outlandish to do, or why so awkward is a better word, is because we physically need to speed up as we hook around in order to stay in time. It's one thing to actually do the outside pick, to let's say pick up while we are moving down, or pick down while we're moving up. That's our outside picking pattern. But we also have to do that small little hook at the same time. That small hook has to have a burst of acceleration. I like to think of, exposing my age here a little bit, but a standard car, or even an automatic car, switching gears. When you switch gears, you get a little burst of acceleration. And when we go from one string to the next, when we do that outside pick, we have to have that small burst to get around the corner, pick up, and then go to the next string. If we try to do that outside pick at the same frequency as all the other picking that we're doing, that's how we fall behind, and that's how we get sloppy. And that, secretly, is one of the reasons why a lot of players find alternate pickings to be so difficult, or so, not annoying, but it's just frustrating to try and get up to speed. So we're gonna try and focus on having that quick hook around when we go higher here. We're gonna try and go for, we'll do 110. That was 30 seconds right there again. And I'm not sure if you can really see this, I think you can, but what I'm trying to explain, and this helped me so much, I discovered it on my own. I'm not saying I invented it. Obviously I didn't invent this, but I didn't get told this, let's put it that way. When we're doing that hook, that small, it's almost like a jitter, that little upstroke that comes, or the little bit of acceleration that comes as you go from one set of strings, so the A and D, or sorry, the E and A string. Then once you go from the E and A to the D and G string, and so on and so forth, I like to group them personally. These two strings, these two strings, these two strings. And as we're doing that transition, that's where you really want to focus on making it almost like groups of two strings. So you're going to do two groups of alternate picking on two strings. So your 3 notes, or then here, then that's where the hook comes in. If you feel like it's those 3 separate groups, instead of trying to play across all 6 strings, you have 3 separate groups. For me, maybe this is making no sense. Maybe it's something that's going to change your life, so you really can focus on that accelerated motion that happens during that outside pick transition, and that will help so much if you can get that down. I'll say this, if at the very least what I just said doesn't really resonate, try it so you can feel it, and then hopefully it makes sense for you. So here, I think we just did 110. I might be trolling here. We're gonna go 120. Okay, this is gonna be a shorter burst here. Also, let's turn this on. There we go. Okay. Oh, trolling. My timer turned off. That was over 30 seconds right there though. So at this point, we're now at about 10 minutes and 50 seconds, and I'm around 120 BPM here. So at this point, we can continue doing this all the way up to, let's say, as high as you can possibly go. If you're someone who stopped at 100, that's totally fine. If you feel like 120 is easy and you want to continue on, also totally fine. No Johns, if I can say that, or no excuses, but this much talking, I'm definitely trolling myself. This makes it a lot harder because I'm losing focus trying to make things interesting for you guys rather than just sitting like a Neanderthal, just quietly trying to practice. But that's totally okay to do. If you do that on your own, totally fine. and that will actually help you focus. Getting yourself a drink, like I had mentioned. And yeah, just non-verbal it up, genuinely. Get your practice in seriously. And so far, with breaks, it's been about 12 minutes. So I'm gonna see if I can lock it in here for a couple. Because I will say that last one was kind of ugly. It got a little better towards the end, but the beginning was, it was practice. Let's just call it that. It was practice. Okay. Let's try this. Ugly. I gotta focus. We'll do it in about 30 seconds or so, but I gotta lock it in here. This next burst might be like 10 seconds. And that's the thing, as you're getting higher and higher, you do not have to do this for a minute straight. If you're able to, then you might be him. I'm just saying. I'm not him when it comes to alternate picking. I know my alternate picking is quite weak compared to the rest of my playing. Yeah, at this point, the burst is like 1. Literally 1. If I can do it once, then we're feeling okay. Ugly. I will say, I did warn you. I did warn you that at the beginning, no warm up. So it's been about 15 minutes and I can definitely start to feel, as far as trying to focus and stay on top of things, the mind is starting to feel a little woozy as far as trying to stay focused. I feel like my picking's getting a lot sloppier. And in this situation like this, what I'd be doing is, if I have to, step away, or you might be done. You might be done for the day after doing this. It's only been about 15 minutes. So we might wrap it up right here. All right, so we are back. We had a bit of a break. We had some dinner, got something to drink, some water. And I will say, this is something that's actually very fascinating to look into for yourself, is how much being hydrated actually affects your reaction time. So treat this like you're about to go for a long distance run. Whether or not you're a runner or not, you should be treating it like you are one for something as intensive as this. So have 2 liters of water the night before and treat this like a real workout, and you will get real results. So here we're gonna try and jump back in. We'll try 130 before we go into the 140. See how we feel. Not horrible, not great. But now, here's something else as well too. When we start to get to these higher BPMs, we're gonna try and do an actual burst, if we can call it that, of the entire scale once. I'm not trying to do it for 30 seconds straight or for a minute straight. Just one time. Can I get through it? Clean, smooth, whatever. And then try to repeat it. All right, let's try it again. already better than before. So it does make a difference. And one thing too that I've tried to do, whether or not this always works, kind of a mental trick I tried for myself, is to try and play faster than you think to stay in front of the metronome, just very slightly. Because if you try and play perfectly on beat and you're hesitating, the entire thing is gonna feel slow or feel like you're dragging. So play a little bit quicker and you might surprise yourself. That one wasn't bad. That last one was all right. Still trying to get back into it, but if you compare this to a couple hours ago, pretty big difference. Earlier, the 140 was straight up bad, and I thought about it for a little while, thinking maybe I don't want to post this, but like I said, raw and authentic. When you practice, it's not going to be great. It's going to be pretty ugly until you get it up to speed or until you get it good. And I don't think that what I'm doing is miraculous. This is just how I practice. I'm still kind of contemplating as well as far as how I do my breaks. I've found it to be most effective, and I'm not going to sit here for 3 minutes. I might add a cut in here somewhere just to make it not so long, but I'm going to be taking 3-minute breaks and then attempting for a minute to try and do bursts for a minute. So if that didn't make any sense, let me just try this again. 3-minute break, and then for a minute window, try and do it once. Take a small 2 or 3 beats, try it again. And I'm going to attempt multiple times during that 1 minute, and however many times I get through, then that's that. Do that again, and then we're going to increase. So let's try the 150 here. Another thing that can also help as well too is just try tremolo picking on your low E string to try and get the rhythm or the feel of how fast it actually is. That's what I'm trying to do. Not horrible, much clearer than before, also faster than what I was doing earlier. So take that in as well too. You're not always going to get to your peak every single time that you practice. Sometimes you might crap out a little early and you might feel bad about that. It's totally okay to do though. I'm not saying that was perfect, definitely far from perfect, but we're still in practice mode. And I'm kind of unfortunately rushing through this a little bit, but we're gonna keep on trying here. I'm literally sweating, just so you know, quite literally sweating. So we're gonna take that 3-minute break and we're gonna come back. All right, let's get back into it. For you guys, we never stop, but here we are. Let's try this again. So here, I'm just gonna be trying to aim to land this one time cleanly over the course of a minute. If I'm unsuccessful, then I'll take another break. But I'm also not going to drag this video on forever. At this point, I'm sure you get the idea of how you're supposed to practice this. But if your speed building practice does not feel or look this intense, then there's a reason why you're not getting up to those higher speeds. So with that being said, let's try and do it. This almost feels like high jump. Just trying to get prepared. It's getting closer. We're trying. And here's the thing too, at least for me, I can tell if I'm really locked in, if I'm getting that hook, like I had mentioned earlier. If I get those groups of two, the two strings at a time, if it feels really locked in, you can, I don't know, at least for me, I can really feel that outside pick upstroke feeling in time. It's like, okay, I know I'm going to get the whole thing just based on how this feels. We're getting close. It's harmonics. That's probably as good as we're going to get that. Right there, that was not bad. Couple harmonics there, but relatively clean, relatively even. 160. This is pretty fast. Unless you're a virtuoso or you're someone who grinds this daily, this is pretty fast. So I'm not mad at that. We'll do another break. I'm going to try for the 170. We'll see what happens, but probably going to call it after that. It's time for 170. I also want to just quickly say, if you are taking this seriously and you are taking your breaks, for those 3 minutes, it's completely fine. It's completely okay to stand up, take your guitar off if you need to, at least sit back in your chair, and just so you're not tempted to play, because you're supposed to be taking a break, turn your volume off. Don't even play. Put your pick down if you need to. Truly, genuinely let your mind rest, close your eyes, whatever you have to do. It might feel like it's a little too intense, but if you're trying to get to that virtuosic level, you gotta do intense stuff. It just makes sense. If you're gonna try and play for 15 minutes and just kind of mess around, no metronome, no structure, then you're gonna be trapped forever. And I don't want that for you. I want you to try and just grind up to the max level or speed that you possibly can, or that whatever you're looking to get. This might be much faster than you're willing to play or looking to play, depending on your style. But if you're someone who's actually trying to get up there, this is how you're gonna do it, genuinely. We're trying to get one or two quality reps here. Playing in that burst. Why was that cleaner than 160? Make that make sense. Also, I'm using the ghost mute, which is just using the side of the thumb to try and mute. Also, I wanted to point out too, I never put this in the video earlier, but I don't have a neck wrap on my guitar on purpose. I don't have a big sock or t-shirt or something around to try and mute the notes. So if it's not clean, it's not clean. I'm not gonna bring a huge a towel on stage, basically, if I'm gonna play this live ever. A lot of players, whether or not it's not illegal, but a lot of players look down on the whole neck wrap thing. So if you actually want to be clean for real, I'm playing at 170 16th notes, pretty clean, considering this is all progress from one day, as far as today's video. Starting to fall apart here, unfortunately. The ending is just sloppy, but high notes, mid, not too bad, but the ending is not great. I think that's it. And here's something else that's super important as well too. Let me just pause this here. Is you really want to ensure that you're not pushing it beyond your mental capacity, because the work I've done so far today has been fantastic work. And if we continue this on in the future, maybe we do another callback or something. At this point, I could probably start my exercise at like 110, 120, and then just grind up from there and not use so much mental strength, for lack of a better scientific word, realistically, to try and grind up and do this for so long, because it is so taxing. The way I think of this really is, imagine that you're holding a weight in front of you. Where am I? Right here. Just holding a weight in front of you like this. You could probably do this, and let's say if this was like a 10-pound weight. You could probably do it for 30 seconds, maybe a minute. But once you start to get to a minute and a half, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, your shoulder is destroyed. It's a nightmare to try and do that. However, if you were to hold it up for 25 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever it is, and then put it down, take a break and come back, you could do that repetition, maybe not all day, but pretty long. And you would get some, I don't know, shoulder strength, grip strength, whatever. That's not really what's important here. But the idea is that by taking these breaks and coming back, you're going to build that strength, get that coordination, as long as your reps are mostly good. I will say I was definitely pushing it towards the end of the first session, and also now at 170, getting a little bit ugly here. But the idea is that you want to try and push past a little bit. If you're always trying to play in that comfort zone where it's always sounding absolutely perfect, you're not going to build that speed. It's kind of like, I don't know if you're into skateboarding or anything like that, but you can't do a kickflip without getting off the ground. You have to get off the ground. You have to have the potential of falling. The board has to flip. You can't fake it. Either you're gonna do it and fail, or you're not getting off the ground at all. So same thing here. If you're gonna push up to, let's say 150, 160, and it feels a little bit ugly, you have to get in that space or in that zone to know what it feels like. If that makes sense. You gotta know what it feels like. And then in the future, you try it again, you get a little bit more comfortable, and then eventually you're just cruising at 160. You're just that guy. But until then, keep on practicing, keep on grinding this out, because it definitely is a grind. This is something that it's gonna take a very long time to actually build up over time. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even a month. Doing just this. I did this session twice in one day, just because I wanted to try and give you some conclusive evidence of taking a break and getting hydrated and all that good stuff, and show that it does work. It absolutely does work. So I would highly recommend probably just doing this once a day. You don't have to do it twice a day, but take your time, and you will build every single day that you do this. Finally, as well too, track your progress. So if I finished here at 170, let's say, I'm not gonna 100% do better than that tomorrow. Maybe I will, but I want to, let's say, start my next session at 110 or 100, and if it feels mad easy, then I'm just gonna jump up to like 130. If that feels really clean, really easy, I'm gonna save the mental capacity and jump to like 155. And if I start to feel like, okay, now I'm locking in, now it's getting a little bit serious, then I'll go up to 160, then 170, which I'm already at, and then I might even try 175. And just like with real weightlifting as well too, if you're someone who's benching 315, you're not just gonna throw on 2 more 45s and just go for 405. You're gonna put on 2.5. So you're gonna put on 5s, something small. So if I'm at, let's say 170, I might not even go to 175, maybe I go to 172, right? And as you get higher and higher, you gotta be realistic with yourself and realize there's eventually gonna be a ceiling where it's like, okay, I can't just jump from 170 to 190 to 230 and just go crazy. So pace yourself, be realistic with yourself as far as trying to push it. Keep that skateboard analogy in your head as well too. If it feels a little bit ugly, doesn't mean don't do it, doesn't mean that it's terrible to even try. Just get in that zone. And I promise you, this will work very, very well for you. Also, finally, if you did enjoy this video and you got some value out of seeing what it looks like to truly push your speed building and your chops, then let me know down in the comments, because this is one of the longest videos I've done by a long shot in this format for anything educational for guitar here. So if you like this kind of stuff, or you have questions about stuff, I'm not pretending to be a professional. I'm just a guy like yourself who's just trying to shred, So if you like this type of video, leave a comment, let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see what else I can put together for you guys.